Okay, I want to do a little recap of the day from hell that we had in our little Southwest Airlines saga. So we started out at Fort Lauderdale Airport. I think it was around 6 a.m. we arrived. And we had wonderful people. Everyone was very kind that we dealt with in checking our bags. And when we were getting ready to go on the plane, they invited, after they did, I think, the A's, they invited people with family or with families with children to come up for family boarding. And so I came up with Dara and Alana, and I was like, oh, that's really nice. So we won't have to maybe be separated, because somehow I'm always in the C group. I've only gone on Southwest, like, I think one other time that I recall. And this trip, the last on our way there, we were able to get on with all of us. But anyway, so it gave me the impression that they were doing that for families with kids, and that's what family boarding was. And then we got to Dallas, which was where we were doing our stop, and we're going to be flying to O'Hare from there. And I heard something over the speaker about younger kids being for family boarding, but we had just been on family boarding in our last flight. So, and I really didn't want to be separated from Dara and Alana because they're still young, and I don't want them to fly and have to be separated from me. And I don't think that other people, I just think that organizationally it's something that Southwest, well, anyway. So the rest of the story is they were boarding, and the woman who was boarding, it was a woman and two girls in front of us, and the girls were maybe like a couple years younger than Alana, so maybe like 9 or 10, and she said to them, "You, come on for family boarding," and pointed at them. So I said, "Oh, come on, girls. I think, we're going to go, because those girls are going for family boarding." And I had just been on family boarding. So when we got up to her, the woman was like, as soon as she saw Dara and Alana, she goes, "Those are not small children." And I said, well, they don't exactly look their ages. Like, they're not small. But I said that, she's 13 and she's 11. And she said, no way, get back there. You're not doing that. She was just really rude about it, and it embarrassed me, and I felt like she was acting like I thought I was trying to sneak something, and it embarrassed the girls. And so we went and sat on the ground, and we waited, because then I felt really embarrassed. Like, I wasn't trying to give the impression that I thought I was like more important than anyone else on the flight. I just had the impression that family boarding meant that children could board with their parents so that they wouldn't be separated. So we sat on the ground, and I waited till every single person boarded on that flight. Now, we were one of the last people anyway. Ours was like C31. So I just didn't want to leave the impression that I was like trying to do something rude. So we sat there, and then like the one man before us had a tiny little kid with him, and he didn't know about the family boarding. It was very hard to understand over the speaker, I will say that too. But so he's in this predicament with us. We were the very last to board, and both of us had children with us, and there are only like a few seats left on the plane. I don't know what they did with him. I'm sure they found him a place to sit with his son. But Dara and Alana and we're entering the plane, and they're just like, there's seats here, here, here. So the three of us sat separate. But it was just a terrible interaction with the woman. It was just like rudeness that wasn't necessary. Why do you have to be unkind? Like, I wasn't being pushy about it. I just stood up for family boarding, and it was a mistake. But I don't think it should have been. I think that parents should be able to sit with their children who are 11 and 13 years old on the plane. And no one, I don't think it would bother adults to move around. So anyway, we just sat separately, but then I can't text them. We're on airplane mode, so I can't text them and get it to see how they're doing. I'm like in my spot, they're in their spots, and I just had a terrible feeling. So I can't, and I'm really upset about what happened with the Southwest. At the Dallas airport. I don't know if the employee was Southwest. I believe they were. So I buy the internet, like $8, so I can get on the Southwest internet on the plane, so I can start to, like, you know, say something about what happened. And I'm crying, like, I'm in the seat, like, I'm just, like, crying, because it was just, like, I don't know, it was just really stressful. And then it was stressful to be apart from them, and they were upset and they were embarrassed, and I couldn't talk to them. So I, like, leave all of these tweets for Southwest Airlines, like, about the experience and how I hope that they'll change their policy, because you know, whether a child is, you know, 12, 9, 6, 13, they're still a child, no matter what size they are, and we can't make assumptions based on age that the needs of the child are going to be always the same. Some children are very independent and can do well flying on their own and separate from their parents, and some cannot. So we are on the plane, and it's the very end, and we landed. So we're completely on the ground, and the internet comes back. We can start texting again. So I get a text message from Alana saying, yeah, I did get a text message from Alana saying, I don't feel well. I think I'm going to need to use the bathroom right when we get off. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. Yes, we will go. Okay, we'll go right to the bathroom. So then I'm, like, texting Melissa, you know, I'm texting the fam, and I'm like, Alana's, you know, showing them the thing that she sent me about not feeling well, because that's the exact reason why a parent needs to stay with their child on a plane, because they have to be there to be able to care for them in case something like that happens. And before I took off, I sent a text to my father in the group, my family group, and I was telling them about the situation. He's like, and I said, well, what if there was an emergency situation? Like, if the plane goes down, I'm not even going to be with my own child to comfort them. They're going to be with a stranger. And, you know, his jerky response was, there will be no emergency. So then the plane lands. Alana tells me she's sick. I'm like, are you kidding me? And 2 seconds later, I got a text message from Dara, I think, right? Saying Alana puked. So now, mind you, the plane is already on the ground. We are just, like, pulling into the thing. So I just, as a mother would, I get up, I unbuckle myself, and I stand up to go look and go get Alana, who's puking now over who knows. I'm thinking, oh my God, has she puked on all the people next to her? This is COVID. I'm not with her. I could have helped her get. So as soon as I get up, the flight attendant from the front is like, sit down right now, ma'am. You cannot get up. And I said, my daughter puked. And she said, you need to sit down. We'll take care of it. You cannot be moving. So I sit back down. Then I'm like, oh my God, I can't even go. I can't even. So I'm looking back, and all the people on the plane are looking at me, and they're giving me the same kind of look, which is like, what the heck is wrong with this flight attendant for not letting you get up when the plane has already landed and take care of your child who is puking, and also for talking to you like that, because any mother would get up when her child needs help on a plane. And it reminded me of when I flew to Europe when I was a teenager in high school. And I was telling Dara this earlier, and someone on the plane, it was a long flight, and they couldn't breathe. And I was a teen, but I still noticed it. And the person was like, I don't know if they were having, now in retrospect, I don't know if they were having a panic attack, but I knew that they couldn't breathe. And I stood up. We weren't supposed to be up. And no one else was doing something. And I'm thinking, for all we know, this person could be dying. It was a young person. It was a tour we were on with a lot of young people. And I got up, and they yelled at me, and I refused. I didn't listen to the flight attendant. I went back to the other flight attendants, and I'm like, she cannot breathe. She can't breathe. She needs help. And then they ended up going over there and helping her. And I'm glad that I didn't listen to them, and I'm glad that I got the help and went and got them, because anyway. So it just reminded me of that moment. But so when she yelled at me and to sit down, and I'm like, I can't even see where Alana is. So then we stop, and everyone's allowed to get up, and everyone stands up. They don't let me go to see Alana. All these people just got into the aisle immediately. So I can't even look, and I'm looking back there, and I'm like, oh my God, and I feel bad for the people that are with Alana. I'm thinking, oh my God, they got puked on. They're disgusted. It's COVID. They're freaking out. I can't go over there and clean her up. I can't get her away from them. I can't help anything. And the people are not letting me through. They're blocking the aisle because they just want to get off the plane. And I'm just like... So I'm standing there, like, helplessly, and then I hear the flight attendant, or I don't know if she did yet. No, a woman said to me, do you want to come through? One woman, I don't know, and I was like, oh my God. Before that, before they let me through, the one nice thing that happened, besides the woman I was sitting next to, who expressed like solidarity of some sort with like my distress, and this man who was, I don't know if he was sitting next to you. Did he give you, the one who gave you the water? Okay. He looked at me and he goes, Mama, he was like talking to me and he goes, she's okay. You know, he was trying to like make me feel better, and I was like, thank you for like someone telling me something about how my daughter is, and like just like acknowledging that this is a stressful situation. So he like saved the day, that man. And then he gave Alana a sparkling water, which was so nice. And so then another woman said, do you want to get by? And I'm like, yes, please, yes. So I left my things and I go, and of course I'm like, okay, I'm by Alana, and I apologize to the people. I'm like, okay, are you okay? And then I'm like,
when I was in there, I was like saying sorry.
I know, honey. I know you didn't mean it. I should have been there. I would have been the one with puke done. Like, that's how it should be. The mom is with the child. I would catch the puke and make sure you didn't get other people puked on.
Mom?
Yeah.
You're not good.
I do. So, I'm like...
And the people in my seat were also giving me bags. Like, and the person across the hall was like...
That was nice. See, the people kind of came through. So then I'm like, I'm apologizing to the guy who's stuck in there. You can't leave because none of us can move. And I'm like, did you get any puke on you? And then the woman's calling me, the flight attendant. Now she's like trying to be nicer, and she's like, Mama, where's Mama? And I'm like, I couldn't even like look at her. I was gonna start crying. I'm like, no, you were already like so mean to me. Like, so then she brought me like paper towels that were wet. So I'm like, I wiped Alana's face off, and then I started to scrub the floor because there was puke all over the floor where Alana's feet were. And Alana's like kind of just, I don't know, spitting into that bag at that point. And the people are all standing all around. Again, COVID. It was just, so then I send Alana off and like, you got to get off this plane. Like, take my, did I give you my mask at that point? No, I just got her off the plane so I would let these people get off. And then I thought, I'll clean up the rest of the puke. And then I couldn't find my bag, but Dara had taken it to be nice and taken it off when she got off, but I didn't know then. I'm standing there with the woman, I'm like, I can't find my bag, I had it right here. And then like, and she's like, I'm sorry, man, like, you know, I just couldn't let you because we would have had to stop the plane. And I'm like, just be human for a second. Like, you know, like, it wouldn't have hurt anyone that I got up. And first of all, and the whole problem is, I said, well, I couldn't talk because I was going to cry. So I was like, well, it's just that before we got on this flight, the person who was like letting us on, boarding us, was like not very nice to us, and I was trying to see if we could sit with my kids, and this is the whole reason. And now I can sit with my kids, and my kids puking all over the plane. Like, and then I'm just like, I have to go. And I said, can I please clean it up? If you bring me something, I'll clean it up. And she said no. They just got me off. And then I went to get Alana.
Better, but like she was like, take your stuff.
Who was that? Yeah. So we got off the plane, and then we had to do baggage check. We have a lot of bags. I was supposed to take the shuttle back to the hotel where my car has been parked for like a week and a half, and so I'm trying to carry all these bags because now Alana's too sick. She doesn't feel well. She can't do as much. Usually you're my big bag helper. Hey. So I know you are helpful. You were very helpful, but. So I've got all these bags and they're like falling to the ground. I fell to the ground because the suitcase tipped over because the other bag that was on it, and this man came and helped me. And I'm like, do you know where the airport shuttle? And he's like, you have to go over there. You have to call the hotel, and then they'll send their shuttle. I'm like, we're getting a taxi. So now, because I'm like, I gotta get her out of here. I can't wait. I can't call. I've got all this stuff around. Like, we are barely functioning. So we got a taxi. Then the taxi cab driver, I'm like, I was still getting in the car. I wasn't even out the door because I had to move Alana over to get her in the seat. And he starts driving while I was standing up. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not in. And I was like, two of the people that were standing there waiting for the taxi after us had been on the flight. I just looked at that woman when we were pulling away, and I was just like, Dave from hell. Oh my God. Like, she was was laughing. But then we got to the hotel. Oh, then we're driving with the taxi driver. We've been driving for like 12 minutes, and then he's like, well, he had asked where we were going. So we said the Hampton Inn Airport, which never stay there. It's disgusting and full of smoke. But like, we were like, I told him where it was, and then like 10 minutes in, he's like, I can't find it. Can you put this in my GPS? He doesn't know where it is. So I'm like, yes. So we get to the Hampton Inn, and Alana can't even move. She like, we had all our bags out in front of the door, and Alana's laying on the sidewalk. She's so sick. She can't even like she's laying in front of this Hampton Inn door on the cement.
Let's not forget. You went to get the car, and Alana and our bags were laying in the middle of the road, and a car came.
Yeah, no. So, because I had to go get, it was just like, it was one of those hard days of travel and hard parenting moments. Did anything else happen? Was that it?
We almost left a bag.
Oh yeah, we did almost leave the bag, but that's minor.
Calling everybody bastard.
I said bastard a few times. What?
Well,
oh yeah, no, I know.
Ended up saving us those.
That's, yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Now this is a 60-minute video.
Like a few minute people who are going off the plane, like they're not taking their vaccine. Like, I hope you are okay.
Oh, the woman who said that to us, she was sitting next to me. She was in the seat next to me.
And then there was a guy that was getting off the plane that didn't know me, and he was just like stay safe, like.
Aw, that was nice. I know. I'm sure a lot of people were like, like, there's the whole thing, like.
Well, he didn't say stay safe. He said like.
And Alana's a good, wonderful mask wearer. She is. But we're vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. Dara's vaccinated, but Alana's too young for vaccination yet. So anyway, that was just it's now like so now we're going to get a COVID test before we do anything else. And we also have to get Dara's x-ray tonight at the hospital. And that's after we finish this 3.5 hour drive. So that's where we are. That's our day.
And I just got food.
And Dara is eating food, so that's good. And I'm going to try to get Alana to drink something more.
Let's go to Casey's. When I think about food.
I know. Okay. I'm going to shut off the video.